Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Oyantik, Tanisha, Mona Lisa, Protush, Hasibul. Okay. No, Oyantik, nothing to write. Just listen. Today I will explain the another subunit from your history book, chapter 3. And today's topic is from garrison town to empire, the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. The expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. How did the Delhi Sultans, divided among 5 dynasties, they expand their territories and control the entire subcontinent? Today we will discuss. Okay, Mona Lisa, I am fine. How are you? Okay, very good. So, remember one thing, within few days you will be notified about your exam. Okay, so prepare for your exam. So, Tanisha, I am fine. Okay, so let's begin. You are ready? Let's begin the subunit. Okay, from garrison town to empire. Good afternoon, Soikat. Okay. So, in the early 13th century, in the time of Mameluke dynasty or slave dynasty, the control of the sultans was not present outside the heavily fortified towns called garrison towns. Okay. You know that when they established, okay, all the students mute your microphone and also turn off your camera. So, what happened at the time? You know that they established their capital in Delhi when Muhammad Ghori invaded. He captured Delhi, and when he left, he placed his favorite slave Qutbuddin Aibak in the throne. But what happened? The India is not a small place, and it is not so easy to control. Okay. So, lot of different kingdoms are there. And it is not a child play to control this huge territory. So, what happened? In Indian subcontinent, you know Delhi, this is the Indus river, okay, Indus and its tributaries. At the time, this Indus and its tributaries, these are marked as the boundary of India, okay. So, now that is Delhi. And Delhi was heavily fortified with different fortresses. You know, the different fortresses were established. Now, what happened? These heavily fortified towns are called garrison town, where soldiers lived. So, garrison towns are a fortified settlement with soldiers. Okay. And at the time, the Delhi Sultans also captured different towns and established fortification on those towns, and these towns are called garrison town, where the army is also, the soldiers also living, they were living here there and protect their territory from the outside attack. At the time, different garrison towns established in different part. In Punjab province, in Multan, it is Multan, Lahore, Badaयूं, Awadh, Banaras, Lakhnauti, and this side also another one, Debal, a port city, Debal. Okay. So, in this way different garrison towns were established different part of the subcontinent, but they have rarely any control, seldom control the hinterland of the cities. Now we have to know what is hinterland. That hinterland is the land adjacent to a city or port that supply it with its agricultural product, goods and services. These are called hinterlands. The hinterlands of these cities. Okay. Suppose Lucknowti, before the arrival of the sultans, this is the capital of the Sena dynasty, Lakshman Sen. So the name of the Lakshman Sen, it was named Lakshmanabati, and Lakshmanabati was turned into Lakshnauti because they cannot pronounce properly. They turned the name Lucknowti, they said, the sultans. So the hinterland of Lucknowti is the entire Bengal. Awadh means the eastern UP region is the hinterland of Awadh. Badaयूं, it is the northern UP. Okay. Delhi is a huge hinterlands. Deval, the hinterland is there. Multan, the Punjab province, and Lahore also, the rest of the part of Punjab province. Banaras also, some part of Madhya Pradesh, and Bihar also the hinterland of Banaras. So in this way, these are the hinterlands. Okay. I think I told you that the land adjacent to the city, the land adjacent to a city that supply with its agricultural product, goods and services. Services means the laborers, the workers, the slaves, everyone they collected from these hinterlands, the villages and the states and districts situated outside a city. Okay. This is called hinterlands. Fortified means fortress, surrounded with fortress. This is called fortified. So these are hinterlands of these cities. Okay. And their control is only inside these hinterlands. Outside these hinterlands, these portions were not under their control. Okay. And it is very difficult to controlling the garrisons, and these garrisons situated in, suppose Deval, it is situated in the Sindh province. It is very difficult to control Deval from very far, Delhi. Also Lucknowti, it is very far. So it is farthest westernmost side, the easternmost side. So this is very difficult to control these territories. Okay. So what happened next? Another some problem was there, that war, rebellion, bad weather, if some flooding was there, and if they heard that there some rebellion was occurred in Lucknowti, so the forces from Delhi, they cannot move up to the Lucknowti, because in Ganga, Son and Ghagra, these are the rivers are there and tributaries of Ganga, they are over flooded these places. If they are flooded, and so the army they cannot reach that Lucknowti, and rebellion occurred, so this part is apart from the Delhi Sultanate. So there is this type of danger was always there, as well as some foreign enemy, if they Ahoms and attack from this side, or this from Burma, or some Mongols they attack from this side, it is very difficult for them to reach Multan, okay, within a few days, because at that time the movement was not so easy. Okay. No means of transportation, there are very basic, on either horseback or the back of elephants or bullock carts they can reach these places. So this is not enough if sudden attack of the foreign enemy. And Mongol invasion from the northwest and the governor's rebellion also great challenge for the newly formed Delhi Sultanate. It is a very problematic for the newly formed Delhi Sultanate. They merely know about the India. They just came here for 10 to 20 years. They do not know the people of the subcontinent. They do not know the region, the kings present here. Okay. The weather, they are not familiar with the weather. Who are Ahoms? Okay. Tanisha, Ahoms are the kingdom situated here. Okay. I will tell you about the Ahoms in next chapters. Okay. That when Mughals fighting with the Ahoms. Ahoms is the kingdom here, today's Assam. Okay, they rule today's Assam. Multan, Multan is in today's Pakistan. It is also situated in the Punjab province. Okay, in Pakistan, Punjab province. So it is very difficult. So Mongol, you know that Genghis Khan. established the great Mongol empire from Mongolia to all over the up to Central Asia and some part of Middle East also he conquered. The Mongols are very dangerous and they several times invaded India and destroyed the Delhi and surrounding areas. So, there is always a fear among the mind of the Sultan that Mongols attacked from the northwestern frontier. So, that is why they built lot of garrison towns surrounded by Delhi and these sites such as Delhi, Pune and the Tughlakabad. Okay. The Siri fort established by Alauddin Khilji to protect the invasion of the Mongols. Taimur is another descendants. Okay. He was another leader. Taimur also a leader from Central Asia. Okay. And he is the ruler of Iraq, Iran and modern day Turkey. Okay. He was another ruler. And also Taimur have some bloodline of Mongols. Okay. Means he was born from a Mongol mother, someone says. Okay. So, that is why the Mongol invasion was a great danger. Genghis Khan was the founder of Mongol empire. Okay. The great Mongols, the Genghis Khan. They blocked all the city of Delhi. Yes, lot of fortresses established. Previous class I have discussed, such as Delhi, Pune, Tughlakabad, Siri fort. Okay. So, these fortresses protect the city of Delhi, the capital, from the foreign invaders. So, these are the dangers. Okay. The three type of dangers are there: natural calamity, rebellion and war. Number 2, Mongol invasion, and number 1, it is not possible to controlling the far-fetched region. Now, how to solve this problem? How did they solve this problem? That Ghiyasuddin Balban was the ruler after the fall of Razia. He was one who made conspiracy against Razia. Ghiyasuddin Balban took the throne and he was also a slave. So, Ghiyasuddin Balban first realized that to establish a powerful administration over this region and to expand the territories, okay, as much as possible. And after Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji from Khalji dynasty as well as the Muhammad bin Tughlaq of Tughlaq dynasty, they also reached up to the South India. Okay. They expand their territories in the other parts of the subcontinent. So, there are two types of expansion happened at that time. Two types of expansion happened by the Delhi Sultans. Number 1, it is internal frontiers, expansion in the internal frontiers and expansion in the external frontiers. So, what are internal frontier first? Internal frontier refers to the areas included in the Sultanate as well as the hinterlands of the garrison town. Means these fortresses and their garrison towns, these are called internal frontiers. They first laid their army expedition in the internal frontiers. Okay. They first expand in the internal frontiers. After that, they go outside. And the campaign occurred along with these internal frontiers, made lot of changes in these internal frontiers. What are the changes? I will mention. Okay, Jalaluddin Khalji Oyantik, it is the uncle and father-in-law of Alauddin Khilji. Okay. Okay, so number 1, what is the effect of this? That they, when they invaded these internal frontiers, the Ganga Yamuna Doab was and Ganga Jamuna Doab, in Ganga Jamuna Doab, forest cleared and agriculture started. The sultans understood that the Ganga Jamuna Doab region, it is very fertile. If I rub the board, Ganga Jamuna, it is the Ganga, okay, it is merged in this here. So there are a lot of tributaries also there, okay, Betwa, Son, Ghagra, Chambal, okay. So, and this Ganga Yamuna Doab, this is the Yamuna, this is Delhi, okay. So this Ganga Yamuna Doab region, it is very much fertile, okay, I draw it properly. So Ganga Jamuna Doab region, they clear the forest, also some forest also there in this region, okay, in Ganga Valley. So they cleared the forest here, uprooted the people. Number 2, uprooted the forest people. The pastoralists and the hunter gatherers lived in this place, they totally uprooted them with their army and established agriculture. They also took some peasants with them and instructed them to make this land as an agricultural field, convert them into agricultural field. They cut the forest and turned into agricultural field. Okay. So number 3, what happened? That new fortresses and towns established in these places such as Banaras, they also rebuilt Banaras. So very old city, you know, Kashi, okay, the 16 Mahajanapadas, this is also a city of 16 Mahajanapadas. The Kashi is Banaras, they turned into, they also established fortified garrison towns in the other side of the bank of ancient Kashi and in Banaras, and Awadh also, that is Lucknow today, okay, Lucknow and other cities also, Badaयूं here, okay. So in this way the different cities they established in different part, and Allahabad also another city, Allahabad today's Prayagraj. So these cities established in different part of this region to encourage the regional trade as well as to protect the trade routes. These river routes are very important at that time. Through the Bay of Bengal, the river routes trade occurred, as well as through the inland trade also occurred. Okay, inland trade means trade through the land. Okay, so to protect the trade routes along with the river, they established the garrison towns both the side of river Ganga and its tributaries. These are the effect of the internal frontier expedition. Now, what are the external frontier expedition? So, from Delhi, they started their expansion towards Gujarat, South India, Odisha, these regions, okay, Telangana, and Vindhya mountain was there, and Narmada and Tapi, 2 rivers are there. So, after avoiding the natural barriers of Vindhya mountains, they and also dense forest of Madhya Pradesh, at that time the entire Madhya Pradesh, most of the part was covered with dense forest. It is not like today's forest, it is unimaginable forest was there, the density of the forest. So, they cut the forest, and they also inside the forest they overcome the barrier of the Vindhya mountain and the Narmada and Tapi river and reached South India. And in South India they defeated many dynasties ruled in different part of South India, such as the Yadavas ruled in Maharashtra, the Kakatiyas they ruled in Warangal, today's Telangana, and the Hoysala they ruled in Karnataka, as well as the Pandyas in the farthest south in farthest south in Tamil Nadu, today's Tamil Nadu. Okay. So, the external frontiers, okay. Now, what is external frontier? The definition. that the external frontiers refers to the region beyond the reach of the internal frontier, such as South India. Okay. The areas beyond the reach of the garrison towns and fortified cities, these are called external frontiers, such as South India. Now, what happened? What happened in the time of external expansion towards the external frontier? What are the result? Number one, first Alauddin Khilji started expanding towards the South India. Remember that Alauddin Khilji or Khalji was the ruler of Khalji dynasty, first started expanding towards the south, and after that Muhammad bin Tughlaq from Tughlaq dynasty, he also expand his sultanate up to South India with his military expansion, military expedition. And there are many after that, when they won the battle here, they captured lot of elephants, horses, and they made the people defeated in the battle, they turned them into slaves and captured them and sent to Delhi as slaves. At that time slave was there, okay, slave trade was happened, and slave are sold and purchased by the rich people and sultans, and those defeated in the battle they turned into slaves. And Qutbuddin Aibak also himself a slave, Iltutmish, Ghiyasuddin Balban, they all are slaves. Okay. So, and as well as they captured the gold and silver stored in the temples. In the board, okay, I will write. And it is also in a exercise question, so when I will give you exercise question answers, I will give you, okay, Ayantik, any problem? So, I will give you when I will give you the exercise question answers, because it is also present in exercise question also. Okay. So, now listen what happened next, that they also collected the gold and silver stored in the royal treasury of different kingdoms as well as the temples. They plundered the temples and sent all the wealth to North India. Huge amount of gold, silver and other precious stones and the diamond, other things, the precious stones, everything sent to Delhi, and they established their kingdom Delhi with this money. They established the other cities, the beautiful palaces, tombs, monuments with this help of this money. Okay. And what happened? Muhammad Tughlaq's army, after when Muhammad bin Tughlaq's army marched across the large part of the continent, they defeated the armies and captured cities, different cities such as Devagiri, it is the capital of Yadavas, Devagiri. Another one, it is the Warangal. Okay, so this type of cities they captured, okay, during the expansion to the South India, and they collected taxes and dispensed justice. Not only they expand their territories, they also collected taxes, they established administration in the South India, they had collected the taxes, and also they dispensed justice. And they so in this way their external frontier the expansion up to the external frontiers successful. Okay. So, if you have any question from this subunit, you can ask me. Ayantik, anyone? Any question from this external internal frontier and hinterland garrison town? Okay, Nandini. Ayantik, I have already mentioned what is the garrison town, I have wrote in the board also. a fortified settlement with soldiers. Okay, thank you everyone. So that's all from today's class. See you in the next class with a new subunit, the administration of the Delhi Sultanate.